What's up, y'all? Knight's Edge here, doing another quick little review. This is the Kershaw Leek. It was lent to me by a friend of the channel, Carry and Cut. I'm going to have him linked down in the description below, and I've actually got it wrote down here in my terrible handwriting at Carry and Cut on YouTube. Go check his channel out. Go subscribe to him. It's free to subscribe, y'all, and really helps out his channel a lot. And while I'm at it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video if you like it. If you want more knife content, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. So he let me borrow 3 knives, and this was one of them. This is the Kershaw Leek. This was actually kind of an older design. It was very innovative in the world of pocket knives when it first came out. I remember seeing this thing everywhere before I even got into pocket knives at all on a more detailed level, I guess. But it is definitely responsible for a lot of people getting into knives. It stood the test of time. It's still, I've carried it for a few days. It's still a pretty good knife. There's definitely a lot more improvements in the knife world now that have come out and kind of outdated this thing, just like with a bunch of other knives. But that doesn't mean it's not a great knife. It still has a lot to offer, I think, and there's still a lot of things that a lot of other companies can learn off of it, for sure. It's got that aggressive Wharncliffe blade shape, really good for slicing into boxes, cutting rope, a lot of everyday carry tasks. You got the over travel stops right there, kind of reminiscent of, kind of reminds me of like a ZT 0562, just with the over travel stops, not in the way of anything else. But it is a wonderful knife. There's a lot of little hidden features about it. I like the infused blade. According to everything I've read and seen, it's only got D2 written right there on the blade. Ken Onion design, by the way, USA made, Kershaw, which is great. But everything I've seen and read, this is actually a D2 on the cutting edge and a 14C28N on the spine. So that is really cool. Looking at it right now, this version on Knife Center's website, you can pick up for about $103. They're on sale right now, I think. Which, I mean, the price overall isn't that great compared to a lot of other offerings, especially compared to a lot of Chinese offerings, Miguron, CJRB, Civivi. There's a lot of kind of newer Chinese companies that are beating that out, but it's an American-made classic, really. So I've definitely got a place for it in my heart. It's an awesome knife. I really like the flipper tab on this thing too. It's really comfortable. I'm not a big fan, if you notice, kind of watching. It's definitely it's not excellent action. Whenever I'm flipping it is assisted, so that's a good thing and a bad thing. I really prefer a manual knife, but assisted knives kind of were one of the things that got me into pocket knives, period. Into even looking at a knife and considering anything on it when I picked up my first Kershaw, which is actually the Scallion, I think. So I have no idea where that knife's at nowadays. I wish I still had it for sure, but it's one of the things that got me into folding knives, and it's definitely a pretty cool little fact about this one. So just a little background overview for you there on my experience with it and where it comes from. Kind of boring, but that's kind of like my take on it. Anyway, go ahead and get into the measurements and all that stuff on it. Get the tape measure out here. Going from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle, you're looking right at 7 inches. 3 inches on the blade, 3 inches on the cutting edge, thanks to that almost flat Wharncliffe. It's got, I don't know if it's got that over time from sharpening, but it almost seems like it's got a belly on it. It doesn't seem quite like a straight edge. No, it's not. It's got a little bit of a belly on it. So anyway, I'm going to call it a Wharncliffe. You can correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, which I am wrong multiple times a day. So Anyway, get out the calibers here, check out the blade stock thickness on it. At the thickest part, I'm getting right here, thickest part of the spine, I'm looking at 90 thousandths right there. 93 thousandths right there. Going down, this is a pretty aggressive hollow grind to me. So going down to more towards the edge, you're looking at 30 thousandths, 29.5 thousandths, 30 thousandths. So it actually comes out to a pretty slicey edge, in my opinion. I've got knives that are more slicey than this, but it is a pretty good little slicer. Go ahead and measure the handle thickness too while I'm at it. No, that's not bad. Just under 1/3 of an inch. Pretty good. Thin handles. They're very comfortable. That's stainless steel on the handles, by the way. And as I said earlier, D2 on the cutting edge, 14C28N on the spine. Really, really, really smooth on the handles. I wear a large size glove. I've got what I consider, what most people I think would consider average size hands. I can get a full 4-finger grip on it, no problem. Can't really choke up. There's not really a spot to choke up. There's a smooth part right there, but you know, you don't really want to choke up on it. You end up cutting your finger right there. But back here, just behind where that flipper tab comes out at, I can just get a good 4-finger grip on it, which is fine. Let's see, do a hardware check on it real quick. Like I said, this thing's assisted, so if you take it apart, it's got a little spring in there. You just got to be careful whenever you take it apart. I think all the body screws, let me check, yeah, all the body screws are T6s. And I believe the pocket clip screws are. The clip actually, it came to me with this is the pocket clip. I have searched high and low, if you're watching this carry and cut, trying to find a replacement hardware. I thought for sure I'd have a T6 that fit, but I've looked through my little box I've got with all kinds of different screws, and I couldn't find a T6 anywhere that would screw all the way into that. But I definitely did look. But whenever, you know, I carry it, it's kind of just put it in the pocket, no problem. And it's small and smooth. You know, the handle's not grippy. It's not something that's going to tear your pockets up on the inside. So it kind of disappears almost like a thin slip joint, you know, in your pocket. So it didn't really bother me at all carrying it like that. So that's T6 on the body screws. I wish they were T8, but they're not. 1, 2, 3. You got three T6 screws to take apart there on the body. And let's see, this is a T8. Go ahead and confirm that. Yep, T8. Pivot screw. Pivot screw is a T8. And look at that captive pivot. That's awesome, right? A little bit less hardware and all T8s, this thing would be perfect, you know. But as it is, there's, like I said, there's definitely been improvements over time in the knife world, but this thing's like a classic, you know. It's stood the test of time, and it did the job for me without a problem. I had no issues out of this knife carrying it and cutting with it. There's a lot of preference issues that I don't like, you know, the assisted and everything, but I can't really launch a complaint against it that's valid, you know, that to say that it's not a good cutting tool. You know, it definitely is. Now, if you get into fit and finish, if you get into you know, the hardware, the fact that it's assisted, all kinds of other stuff they could have done different, whatever, you know, I mean, you can nitpick it all day long, and nitpicking something has been around as long as this has, pretty easy to find a few, you know, a few faults in it, without a doubt. But the fact that it's USA made is awesome. Definitely love that. USA made Kershaw. They do have a lot of their knives made in China, but it seems like lately they've been moving more back towards their USA made stuff, which is always a good thing in my opinion. So before I finish with the pocket clip, you can mount it right side carry only. You can put it like that, tip down, or you can reverse it, which that's points for that. You know, that's a good thing. It's a reversible pocket clip. Or you can mount it tip up, right-handed carry. So no left-handed carry, which is a bummer for left-handed people, but you can reverse it, which that's a good thing. I'll put the clip up for now. So, all right. We'll do the blue jeans on it, which I usually do in my videos, but well, I guess I can try to, let's see. See if you carry it. I'm gonna do tip up. That's how I would carry. A lot of people carry tip down, it's fine, but if I was carrying it, this is how it would carry with a clip on it. So got a good little bit sticking out, right? Definitely nowhere near a deep carry. I mean, you got like an inch or so almost sticking out, so and that could be better. Now, if you carry it the other way, I think there's less sticking out. If you look at it, carrying it the other way, seems like there's a little bit less sticking out, you know, but still a little bit sticking out. Whatever, you know. I prefer tip up carry, and if I own the knife and you know had the pocket clip working and everything, I would carry it tip up, even though there's a little bit sticking out. That doesn't bother me that much. I would prefer it deep carry, but you know, like I said, it's not really like a deal breaker or anything. So turn the scale on. Let's see. I'll get. You want me to guess it? I don't know. I'm guessing. Yeah, it's got a little heft to it because of the steel handle. I would guess 3.4, 3.2 ounces would be my guess. Not too far off. 2.9 ounces, which is almost perfect with the blade to the ounce and inch ratio there, right? So that's a good thing. You're actually a little bit under the ounce and inch ratio. So we'll go ahead before I forget and do some size comparisons on this thing. Get out the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 so you can see the Kershaw Leek is a smaller knife compared to that. I wouldn't consider it like a small knife, like a miniature knife or anything like the Baby Banner, you know, but it is a what I would say is a small size knife, you know. This would be like or a medium size, I guess. This would be more like a full size knife to me, you know. This will be more like a smaller size knife, but hey, everybody's got different preferences here. Paramilitary 2, I don't know why I grabbed the Hogue Deca. Got this one right there, right? So if you look at it, it's more along the lines of the size of the Paramilitary 2. Actually, just a tad bit more cutting edge, it seems like, than the Paramilitary, I'm sorry, not the Paramilitary 2, the Para 3, right? The Paramilitary 2 is way bigger. But it's actually got a little bit more cutting edge and doesn't take up quite as much overall length. So something to consider there for sure. And let's see. Get the Doug Ritter Hogue RSK MK1 and the Hogue Deca, like I showed you earlier. Hogue Deca is a little bit larger. Demco knives, 80-20.5. Another Kershaw. These are the only other two Kershaws I own. That is a Boilermaker, and that is a Launch 13 Kershaw. So smaller than both. But anyway, that's all the size comparisons there. Long story short, I would say this is still a good knife. It's priced, this model priced at $104. There's definitely been a lot of improvements in the knife community ever since this one came out, but this definitely has a place in the knife community. it is definitely a good thing. You can get the Hogue Deca right now in Magna Cut for right at 135 bucks, I believe. You know, the handle materials of less quality, I think, but the lock's way better, and it's in Magna Cut. In my opinion, for an extra 30 bucks, way better deal. You know, also Hogue Deca USA made knife. But like I said, when this thing came out, it wasn't competing against the Hogue Deca. The Hogue Deca is fast forward years and years and years and years and decades, you know. So for the price and everything, this is I wouldn't say it's competitive anymore, but I would say as a beginner nowadays, there's definitely better things you could pick up. But this is not a bad knife at all. This is a wonderful knife. It's a great cutting tool. It's comfortable in the hand, unless you got larger, you know, really larger hands than mine. I could see how it could be uncomfortable. We could fall off back here, or, you know, you can't choke up on it. That's not a good thing. A little bit of jimping right there kind of helps out doing cuts like that, you know. And I really like the flipper tab on this thing. I like the blade shape, that aggressive kind of Warncliffe. Really cool. Really cool blade shape. And overall, the thing that really surprised me with this was the flipper tab, believe it or not. I like that little flipper tab. It almost disappears, and it's super smooth, and it's got good jimping on it, in my opinion. But anyway, that's about it. Thanks again to Carry & Cut for sending me this. Let me borrow it, do a review on it. If you guys like good content, definitely go check him out. He's got some great content. Does a lot of really cool videos. If you like my channel, you'll love his. So like I said, I'll have him linked down in the description. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe if you want more content. I really appreciate you guys watching. Every single like and every subscribe and every video you watch definitely helps the channel out, and really appreciate it, guys. Anyway, that is the Kershaw Leek, and this has been the Knight's Edge. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys on the next one.